Math 1332, Chapter 7, Consumer Mathematics, Section 5, Installment Buying, Video 7, Early Payoff, the Rule of 78 method for calculating unearned interest. In the previous video, we learned about paying off an installment loan early. In doing so, we are not responsible for paying off the unearned interest that normally would have accrued during the remainder of the loan. One approach for estimating the unearned interest was the actuarial approach. This approach required the APR from the original loan, which you may have to look up yourself using the APR table. In fact, when we did that problem, that's what took most of the time, actually finding the APR. A second approach, called the Rule of 78, can be used to estimate the unearned interest without the need for the APR table. And just as a note, the 78 in the Rule of 78 comes from the sum 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10 plus 11 plus 12. For more details, I recommend reading the following article on Wikipedia. I wish that link were clickable, but you can find Wikipedia and you can just search Rule of 78. It does come up as Rule of 78s, but in that article, you will see the formula that we're about to see, and it will try to explain, well, it explains why it's called the Rule of 78. So what is the Rule of 78? Well, the Rule of 78 is as follows. We have a formula for unearned interest, and don't let this collection of letters throw you off. It's no worse than the one we saw before. To find the unearned interest, you do a division problem or a fraction. The top of the fraction is f times k plus 1, and the bottom of the fraction is n times n plus 1. I do have extra parentheses around both the numerator and the denominator, since both are more than a single term. The u, of course, is the unearned interest. The f is the finance charge. K is the number of remaining payments excluding the current one, just like it was in the actuarial method. And N is the original number of payments. So we won't have to use the APR table. That's good. Just remember that in an expression like this means F times K plus 1. I thought about writing it like this so that the multiplication was a little bit more explicit, but well, I guess there's nothing really wrong with that, but I'm going to continue to imply the multiplication with adjacency. Adjacency is the property of being next to something. All right, so all we need to calculate the unearned interest is the finance charge, which if we don't have, we can calculate, the number of remaining payments excluding the current one, and the number of the original number of payments. Let's revisit Jason and the truck he financed in the previous video, shall we? He bought a truck priced at $29,275. He made a down payment of $10,000 and paid $454 monthly for 4 years. I'll get the words out right in a minute. He wants to pay off the loan at the end of 30 months. All the proofing I did before I start this video, and I've still got some errors. How much is the unearned interest and payoff amount? Use the Rule of 78. All right, for our benefit, let's bring the Rule of 78 to this page. And there it is. We need the finance charge, the number of remaining payments, excluding the current one, and the number of original payments. Well, the number of remaining payments and the number of original payments is easy. We are at the 30th payment. Well, let's start with the number of original payments, which was 48. 4 years times 12 months in a year is 48. The number of original payments, if we are at the 30th payment and about to pay it off, we haven't made that 30th payment yet. So we've made 29 payments so far out of 48. 48 minus 29 is excluding the current one, so minus 30 is 18. So the number of remaining payments, excluding the one that we're currently at, my apologies. So we're at the 30th payment, that's the current one. So we have 18 payments remaining, 48 minus 30. All right. So we got all the numbers we need except the finance charge. And let's just remember where the finance charge came from. The finance charge is how much more we pay for the truck than its stated price. So it's the total of everything we pay minus the price of the truck. What we pay for this truck is the $10,000 down payment plus 48 payments of $454. So multiply 48 times 454, and then subtract the cost of the truck, $29,275. And I don't remember what the finance charge was when we did this video before, so I'll just recalculate it quickly. 10,000 plus 48 times 454 equals, that's the total that we pay, minus 29,275 is equal to 2,517. Was our finance charge. And now we have all the pieces that we need. F equals 2,517. K equals 18. N equals 48. And we only have to plug everything into the formula now. Our unearned interest in the numerator is the finance charge, 2,517, times K, which is 18, times K plus 1. Well, if K is 18, then K plus 1 is 19. Divided by N, 48, times N plus 1, 49. Being a dollar amount, we will round it to the nearest cent. Parentheses, 2,517 times 18 times 19, close parentheses, divided by, open parentheses, 48 times 49, close parentheses, equals 300, it's a dollar sign, $365.99. That is our unearned interest using the rule of 78. But we're also asked, what is the payoff amount? The payoff amount is all of the remaining payments minus the unearned interest. How many payments have we not, payoff amount? How many payments have we not made yet? Well, we've made 29 payments. Remember, we haven't made the 30th. So 48 minus 29 is how many payments we haven't made, because we haven't made the 30th yet. We've only made through the 29 payments. That's going to get multiplied times the 454. So that's what we still owe for the payments minus the unearned interest, which was $365.99. We don't owe that because we're not borrowing the money over those last drawing a blank here, 19 payments that we haven't paid off yet. So 48 minus 29, let's figure that out first. That's 19, so there's 19 payments we haven't made yet, including the 30th, which we haven't made yet, times 454, and then subtract the $365.99 that we don't owe anymore. Our payoff amount is $8,260.01. So the end of it is just like the actuarial method. The payoff amount is all the payments we haven't made yet minus the interest that we no longer owe. But the calculation of the unearned interest is a little bit different. At least in this case, it doesn't require the APR. To wrap up this video and this section and this chapter, I want to talk about what happened when we used the actuarial method in the previous video and got an unearned interest that was less, $314.31. Why are these different, and which one would the lender use? As for why they're different, it's a little tricky to explain based on the math behind it. And for full disclosure, although I completely understand the math, I am not an expert in finance. So I don't know why a lender would use one rule over the other. You would think they would choose the rule that benefits them the most. But they should disclose up front all the details of this loan that you take. This is why it's important to read some of the fine print in the details of any loan agreement you enter. Ask questions. Make them explain to you what any of the requirements mean until you are satisfied with their explanation. Remember, you are their customer. They owe you full disclosure. So if you don't understand something, ask them. And if you're not satisfied, find somewhere else.